Get up!
I'll help you. Reporting for duty.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video. So, I've been keeping a close eye on StarRupture, and honestly, this game looks like something special. It's being called a brutal sci-fi open-world survival game where you mine, build, and fight in a world that literally wants you dead. But before you jump in and spend your money, there are a few things you should know. Before you jump in and spend your money, I want to break down some key details about how it actually plays, how co-op works, and what makes its world so different from other survival builders. Let's get started. Early access, release, and platform. First thing, let's clear up on what you're actually buying. StarRupture is launching as a PC-only early access title on Steam, with the date locked for January 6th, 2026. Not some vague coming soon window. That means you're jumping into a work-in-progress game that's still being shaped by feedback, not a full 1.0 release. The devs at CreepyJar are treating this as a long-term project, using all the data from their massive playtests to refine systems over time. So if you're cool with bugs, balance tweaks, and big updates instead of a finished package, this kind of evolving early access experience will probably be right up your alley. Genre: survival meets factory builder. If you're expecting a chill building sandbox, you're in for a shock. StarRupture is basically a mashup of first-person open-world survival, hardcore base building, and factory automation on a hostile alien planet. You're not just plopping down a few walls, you're designing industrial chains with drills, smelters, conveyor belts, drones, and power grids while trying not to get absolutely wrecked by the environment and enemies. For me, it feels like someone threw Satisfactory-style automation into a brutal sci-fi survival shooter and then cranked the danger up by 10. If that mix sounds exciting instead of overwhelming, this game is probably your kind of chaos. Co-op focus with up to 4 players. Yeah, you can play solo, but this thing is clearly built with co-op in mind. StarRupture supports up to 4 players working together online, and the official co-op gameplay overview literally shows teams coordinating mining, building, and defending one giant shared base. One person might manage the power grid and drones, another handles factory logistics, and someone else focuses on defenses and combat. So it really rewards squads that communicate. What I love is that it doesn't lock you into co-op only. You can still grind it out alone if you prefer, but the systems really shine when you bring a few friends and divide roles properly. The Ruptura star and recurring Cataclysms. The coolest and most terrifying part of StarRupture is the Ruptura star itself. This isn't just a pretty skybox. It's a deadly star that periodically triggers massive cataclysms that can literally wipe out unprepared bases. The whole game kind of revolves around this cycle. You build up, expand, and automate during the safer windows, then scramble to fortify your base, stockpile resources, and survive when the star goes insane. For me, that ticking clock vibe makes the game feel way more intense than a typical idle factory sim. If you don't like pressure and time disasters, this mechanic might stress you out hard. Deep factory and automation systems. If you're into factory nerd stuff, this game goes surprisingly deep. You're setting up extractors on resource nodes, piping ore into smelters, crafting components, and using drones, rails, and belts to automate the entire flow across your base. Buildings have their own crafting recipes, and there's a priority-based logic system where you can decide what gets produced first, so you're not manually babysitting every machine. On top of that, power management actually matters. Overload your grid, and things start shutting down, which can be a disaster if enemies hit at the wrong time. So if you enjoy min-maxing production lines and optimizing logistics, this game really feeds that part of the brain. Combat is not an afterthought. Unlike some factory games where combat feels tacked on, StarRupture really leans into the action side. You're fighting off swarms of aggressive, insect-like alien creatures that are actively trying to overrun your base and even steal your hard-earned energy. The footage shows flamethrowers, energy weapons, and base defenses working together to hold back huge waves, almost like a light tower defense layer on top of your factory. That means you can't just build pretty layouts. You need kill zones, choke points, and backup plans when the hordes push through. If you hate FPS-style combat, that's a big thing to consider, because surviving here absolutely means shooting and not just optimizing numbers. Exploration and world design. This isn't just one flat field to pave over. The planet Arcadia 7 is advertised as a vast open world with multiple biomes, secrets, and abandoned bases from earlier missions scattered around. You'll be roaming through volcanic zones, grassy plains, and strange alien structures, and those abandoned facilities often hide rare tech and lore bits that give you an edge. For me, that exploration layer is a big deal, because it means you're not stuck staring at conveyor belts 24/7. You'll actually leave your base, scout new resource-rich regions, and decide where to expand next. Just remember, the farther you go, the more dangerous it gets, so it's never a chill hike. Difficulty, pressure, and who this is for. From everything shown so far, StarRupture doesn't look like a casual comfort game. You're juggling survival, base building, factory automation, co-op coordination, and time cataclysms from the Ruptura star all at once. Enemies attack in serious numbers. Systems can fail if you mismanage power or logistics, and the planet itself keeps throwing new threats at you. So if you just want a relaxed builder where you can AFK half the time, this might be too stressful. But if you love high-stakes survival with complex systems and you enjoy learning through failure, this game looks like it was built to punish and reward that mindset in a big way. PC specs and performance expectations. Before you smash that buy button, you gotta check your rig. Official specs list 16GB of RAM, a modern mid-range CPU like an i5 8400 or Ryzen 5 2600, and at least a GTX 1060 6GB or RX 580 8GB, plus about 45GB of SSD space. Recommended specs push you toward newer GPUs like an RTX 3060 or RX 7600, again with 16GB RAM, which makes sense given all the physics, AI, and visual effects happening in big bases. So if you're running super old hardware, expect to compromise on visuals or performance. This isn't a potato-friendly 2D indie, it's a hefty 3D factory survival beast. Roadmap potential and early access mindset. Last thing you should know is this is clearly a grow over time project. CreepyJar has openly talked about using their big playtests and community feedback to refine and expand the game during early access, instead of rushing to a full release. That's good news if you like watching a game evolve, getting new systems, balance tweaks, and maybe even whole new biomes or threats over time. But it also means you're signing up for an unfinished experience with changing meta, possible wipes, and features that might feel rough early on. So if you're buying in, go in with that early access mindset. You're helping shape a promising survival factory hybrid, not grabbing a polished final product on day one. That's all on StarRupture, guys. Brutal survival, wild factories, and co-op chaos on a killer planet. If you love high-pressure building games and early access adventures, grab it now. Who's ready to survive the star? Like, subscribe, comment your base plans, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.